Welcome to the Wolves Den and another action figure review. Today we are taking a look at Hasbro's Marvel Gamerverse figures. These are 4-inch figures and they are from the Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite video game. Here we have Black Widow on the Marvel side and Ryu, or however you want to pronounce it, on the Capcom side. So let's bust these guys out of this package and take a closer look at them. Let's start off by taking a look at Black Widow's articulation. See, the head does rotate fully around. Arms rest fairly close to the side there, and then rise up pretty high at the shoulders. There is full rotation at the shoulders. Elbows bend, and there is rotation at the elbow, and then the wrists rotate, but there's no other articulation at the wrists. No waist articulation at all. Legs do rise to the side, and then you can get them to go fully forward also. There is a thigh swivel, and double jointed knees, and the feet do move back and forth and rotate all the way around. They kind of look like they're rocker ankles, but they're not really, at least not what you would expect them to be. But that is it for her articulation. Looking at the figure, we see a nice new head sculpt. At least I don't think they've used this before. Really nice detail on the hair. Really good sculpting. Really good looking face, very nice paint apps on the eyes and the lips there. Really nice head sculpt. And the body of the figure they've used before at least once that I'm aware of. This is some different coloring to it though. I like the blue stripes going up and down. Really nice job getting those on there. One thing that's annoying is for some reason they've got their little, I don't know, serial numbers or whatever those numbers here on the front of the figure. Usually you'll find those sometimes like on the feet. Okay, but she has really narrow feet, so they probably couldn't put them there. Or on the back of the figure, so you wouldn't really notice them on the back of the legs there. But for some reason they put it right up front. So that's kind of annoying. It could probably be rubbed off. I don't know. So if that bothers you a lot, you could maybe rub it off or paint over it. It's just on a black area. You could just take some black paint and get rid of it. But if you don't like messing with your figures, just like leaving them as is, then that's just kind of a nuisance. Just see that straight on like that. Also, her holster, her belt and holsters. This side's alright. It rests nice and close to the leg. It's not a real problem. But this one just sticks way out. And you can't really get it to rest flat at all. Maybe with enough heat, you could maybe force it down and it might stay down. But as it is, it's just flared out there and it looks really awkward. And that brings me to her two guns. They're nice little pistols. Nicely sculpted little pistols, just basic black. And fit nicely into this hand. But this hand doesn't have a trigger finger. So this one you can get to fit. Sometimes it pops out, other times it stays in. With a little work you can get it to stay in, but it just looks awkward because she doesn't have a trigger finger on that hand. So it looks really, really awkward in that hand. This hand's fine, but her left hand's really strange. And then the guns don't really fit into the holsters very well. You can get them in there and they'll stay, but as you might be able to see, they're just kind of sticking out funny. They don't fit in properly. You know, they don't quite go in all the way, they just kind of stick at an angle, sticking out like that. So it's, while it's a nice looking figure, there's definitely some disappointing features on it. Taking a look at Ryu's articulation, his head does rotate fully around, and he can look down a little bit. Can't look up at all though, just down. Arms rest that close to the side, so they do stick out a little bit, but they can rise that high, and full rotation there. He does have a bicep swivel and single jointed elbows, and his wrists rotate. He does have a second pair of hands, but neither of them have any other wrist articulation other than the rotation. He can rotate at the waist. He does have an ab crunch, but with this this gi, I think that's what it's called, a gi on, he can't really use it very well. His legs don't really go to the sides very well, but you can get them forward. You can get them maybe that far to the side. He does have double jointed knees, and his ankles do rotate, and they rock up and down, and they do rock side to side, so he does have decent rocker ankles. And that is it for his articulation. Ryu has a very nice head sculpt. Nice job on the eyes there, the paint apps, and really good job on the hair. And then the little headband tied around there, that looks really nice too. Really nice job on the sculpting there. Really good paint apps on his gi here. I hope I'm not saying that wrong. Well, I know I'm saying it right, but I hope that's the I hope that's the thing that I think it is. Anyway, his shirt here, whatever. Really nice paint apps. There's like some stains all down his clothing there. He really needs to go to a laundromat, clean this up. You'd think all the fighting he does, he'd have made some money by now that he could do that. But anyway, really nice job on the paint apps. You got some Japanese writing here on the belt. Really nice job there. On his gloves on the wrists there. Really nice looking figure throughout. Now he does come with an extra pair of hands, as I mentioned, and these ones just pop right out. And then the new one, which is a fist, just snaps right in. And then this one also, like so. And his gi here does just open up, just a couple pegs, and you can pull it off. I'm not going to take the time to do that, but that just pegs closed. Takes a little work to get it back in there. Takes a lot of work to get it back in there. I'm just going to leave it as is. Alright. So his arm articulation is really nice, but it doesn't give you the movement that you'd like. They're really bulky arms and they don't really move as well as you'd like. And he does come with a fireball. Let me zoom out a little bit here. And that sits on a stand, so there's the stand, and there's just a little peg. And so you can get him to throw the fireball. And to get him in the right position, you want to use these hands. You know, those are his fireball throwing hands. It's really hard to get his arms to move the way you'd want them to. You can't bring them very close. I mean, that's about as close as you can get his two hands, and they're really tight to his body to do that. Because usually when he's throwing a fireball, his hands are sticking way out, and they're really close together, and you just can't quite do it. So his arm articulation is a bit limited. Another annoying thing is his legs are on these little peg joints, and this leg pops off repeatedly. This leg stays on. I don't think it's popped off at all for me, but just moving this leg to try to position him, that leg pops off an awful lot. So that's kind of an annoyance too. The figures come with this cool little backdrop. Zoom out a little bit more. So if you want to display them with the backdrop, look like they're fighting in this lab here. I'm not sure the location. I haven't played the game, so I'm not sure what location this is supposed to be, but it looks pretty cool, so it's a neat little backdrop you can use for displaying your figures. Hasbro did a good job in designing these figures, at least from a sculpting standpoint. You know, the paint apps are nice. They're really nice looking figures, but the execution leaves something to be desired. Ryu has a leg that keeps popping off. His arms can't get into the positions you want them to be in to throw fireballs or throw punches. You just can't quite do it. Black Widow has no waist articulation, no wrist articulation. One of her guns won't even fit in her hand. The guns don't even fit well in the holsters, and the holsters just kind of like splayed out everywhere. She's even got writing that you don't want to see right on the front of the figure. It's just really off-putting. So while there's a lot of greatness on these figures, there's also so many irritating things. It's just frustrating. Well, I'm going to keep these figures because I'm going to use them as customs. I'm going to turn them into G.I. Joes of some sort. They're still frustrating for what they could have been. They could have been so much better. Take all that as you will. Do with that information as you will to make your own decision. Hope you enjoyed this review. Hope to see you soon again for some more action figure reviews. Until then, thanks for watching, and God bless.